Hello everybody, I hope you're managing to stay nice and sane through these crazy times we find ourselves in. If you're here for the first time, my name is Billy Burnett and today we are going to be looking at that thing you've probably been putting off for years, music theory. I'm going to be breaking down music and sound to its most simple form, so if it feels a bit slow at first, please stick with it because unless you've got a real good grip on music theory, I'm sure there's something here that you'll be able to learn from. A lot of you are probably like me and have tried to understand much more complicated concepts like counterpoint or, I don't know, Phrygian dominant modes before you've understood the basic principles of music theory. Now, there's nothing wrong with this because you can use these things in concept. For example, if you know that death metal uses the Phrygian dominant mode a lot, then you can use it and it will work. But understanding what makes it work is a lot more important and a lot more useful to us. So music can really be broken down into two very simple elements. The first one is pitch, how high or low we perceive a note to be, and the second one is time. So in this episode today, we're going to be dealing with pitch, building scales and how they fit in with key signatures. So within our Western form of music, we use a 12-note scale, which is referred to as the Chromatic Scale, which means most songs that you've ever heard, apart from maybe like Indian raga music, a lot of world music, will use this Western ideology of music theory. So when you break it down, music theory is the study of the combination of 12 different notes. Now, I'm not trying to make this sound easy because there's a hell of a lot you can do with 12 notes. But in its simplest form, that is all we're looking at. So now we're going to have a look at each individual note. We're going to be using a piano for this, just because I feel like music theory translates better on a piano. We have the sharps and the flats in black and the natural notes in white, so we can really make a distinction where if we was doing this on guitar, we've got a solid fretboard and we can't make that distinction. My music theory knowledge actually only started when I started to learn the piano. It's not something that really entered my head on a guitar. So let's take a look at the notes and then we're going to break down the difference between them. Now we measure the distance in each of these notes using either tones or semitones, or steps and half steps. So let's take a look at the difference between a tone and a semitone. Now you can see on the piano here that the first note that we have that we're using today is a C. So if we was to go to the next note along to the right, that is a D. Now, technically, that is two notes away, as we have got this C sharp in between. So the distance between the C and the D is a tone. Now, the distance between the C and the C sharp is what is known as a semitone, okay? This is the distance of one note away. It's very important to remember, a tone is two notes away, a semitone is one note away. Now, I like to look at each of these notes like a different ingredient in your cupboard. Now, when you go to cook dinner, you don't take every ingredient out of your cupboard, chuck it in a saucepan and go, yes mate, that's dinner, because it's going to taste terrible. And it's the exact same with music. If we play all 12 notes at the same time, they're not going to sound good together. I know what you're saying. How do we know what combination of notes sound good together? And this is the second thing about music theory that we have to come to understand, and this is key signatures. A key signature, simply put, is 7 of these 12 notes that sound good together. That is it. We can have major keys and we can have minor keys. So you see here on the piano, if we're starting at C, we can build a key signature out of this note here. If we was to go to C sharp, we can build a key signature out of this note here. And every single note in music in this case on this piano, we can build a key signature from. And it can either be minor or major. This is for each of the keys. So we can have a minor or major key starting on C. We can have a minor or major key starting on C sharp. I don't want people to confuse sharp and flat with major and minor. This is something that is very, very commonly placed within music theory, but there's no relation between sharp, flat, major and minor, so get that out of your head. So now that we understand what a key signature is, we need to be able to express ourselves within a certain key. And the way that we do this is by using that scary S word, scales. Now, this is something that when I was younger, if I heard the word scales, it would put me off automatically and I'd just switch off. But they are not that intimidating and they really are not that boring. If you're the sort of musician that just thinks you're a bit of a renegade and you can just improvise everything without learning scales, I promise you, put the effort in, learn the scales, and it will open up your musical world entirely. A scale is simply just a series of notes. Now today we're going to be looking at the major and the natural minor scale because this is what we build our key signatures from. There are lots of other scales like pentatonic, the blues scale for example, and these all fit within a key but they don't build the key themselves. You can look at it as if the key signature is a house and the notes of the scales are the building blocks that we are going to build this house with. These notes aren't just completely random. We don't just chuck some notes together and go, that's a scale, that's a key. It doesn't work like that. There's actually quite a deep science in fundamental frequencies and harmonic content to why we perceive these to work and why they sound good together. So if that's something that you're interested in, let me know in the comments below and I'll do a video about that in the future. Now, when we speak about scales and keys, we normally speak about C major and A minor. And the reason for this purely is simplicity. There's no sharps or flats, which are the black notes on the piano, in either of these keys. So it makes them easier to talk about. But it's very, very important to remember that the theory we learn within either C major or A minor are applicable to every other major or minor key. For example, if we learn something in C major and then take that same knowledge and start it on G, we can then use that knowledge within G major. It doesn't change, so we don't have to master every single key. We've just got to master the knowledge within one of them so that we can use it across the board. We're going to build the major scale starting from C. So the simplicity of this on a piano is we're going to hit all of the white notes from C to C. So that is simply C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Or if we was to speak about tones and semitones, it is tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. You can use this theory to build a scale starting on any of the notes. So we can use these starting on C sharp, you could be on E flat, it doesn't matter. If you follow that rule, you will be able to build a scale using it. So remember, that is tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Now, if we build a major scale, what we're really doing is finding out the notes that are within that key. So if we follow tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, starting on any of these notes, we will be building the major key starting on that note. So let's look at G major, for example. Tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. And there you have your G major scale, which, as we've spoken about before, are the notes that make up the key of G major. Now, we're going to do the exact same, but using the minor scale. Remember, we're going to be building our minor scale starting on A because there's no sharps or flats, which means that all we're going to be doing on the piano is hitting all of the white keys, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and then A for the octave. Tone, semitone, tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone. So these distances between these notes are what's going to build your minor scale. If we was to do this but start on another note, let's take D for example, we could build the D minor scale. So let's have a look at that. Tone, semitone, tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone. Now that we've figured out the D minor scale, we know what the notes are that make the D minor key. The rules to building the major and minor scale are on a PDF in the description down here. So I'd like to set you a task. Only using your instrument and not using the internet, I would like you to download this PDF and figure out what the notes are in the F major and the E minor scales. And I want to see your answers in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this class, please let me know in the comments below. And if there's any topics in the future you want me to cover, also leave that down there as well. Best of luck on the first part of your journey into music theory. Ciao for now.